right, welcome listeners. Have you ever wondered how someone can transform their biggest life challenges into a force for helping others? Today's guest did exactly that. From surviving serious childhood accidents to being forced into an early marriage, Caroline Hallak has turned her life experiences into a powerful lesson about mindset transformation. She's now a very successful mindset coach and author of A Poor Mindset to a Mastermind. Caroline really does help others master their subconscious mind and unlock their full potential. I'm Danielle, your host and content creative officer at Authors on a Mission. Whether you're a business leader looking to share your experience or someone seeking to transform lives through your message, today's episode will show you how to turn your experiences into impact. So stay tuned to discover how Caroline's journey from mindset coach to author really helped others, especially teens, overcome their challenges. Hello, Caroline. How are you today?
Very good. Nice to meet you, Danielle. Thank you.
And she's looking amazing today. She has a beautiful outfit, part of her collection, as she told me. So we're both really excited to dive into this. First question I wanted to ask you, I did a little bit of research about your past and everything that led up to your book. How did all of your early experiences, including immigrating from Syria and, your childhood accident, your long marriage, how did that really change your perspective on mindset as a whole? How did it shape your beliefs? That's how it came to be.
Well, it was like really long time later in my life that I wake up, that when I have a gift. And when I wake up, this is a calling that I have been basically searching on it, learning on it all my life, without knowing that one day I'm going to wake up and say, okay, it's my turn to give back. It is my calling when basically I start coaching. And so when we came first to Canada, like we were kids and coming from Aleppo, Syria, such a different culture, going to a nun's private school, coming to Canada, it's a mixed, it was only girls, so it was a mixed school. So it was an absolute culture shock, I would say,
Okay.
And even that little bullying that I kind of felt a little bit, like made me understand later, like how hurtful it is, when people like they were dressed, they had so much full makeup, we not, you know what I mean? We, in our culture, you would put makeup a little later and so on.
Right.
So
yeah, I can see how that culture shock really just like impacted you, from young age. And then as you grew older, you mentioned that there was a moment in your life that you realized you want to give back and share how you overcame that with others. But what was that specific moment that you just mentioned?
Well, okay, so let's be backward a little bit. My father used to have his business for 30 years before coming to Canada, and he had made a name amazing. Like for 75 years now, we still talk about him. They still, they see me, oh my gosh, she's the daughter of Danielle Hutchinson, which I wrote it in my book, obviously. But he helped people on the side of his business, basically, his own customers, his entire life. So is that something which I'm still searching, like deeper in the new whole, in my mindset. And if I took it in my gene, from my father, it is definitely because, all my life, from my heart, basically, I was helping people. Like so many couples, they are married because of me. They have children because of me. But, I was so much deep in my business, my first business, and I love it so much. I was so passionate about it. And you are in a business, so you have contracts. But in the last more than a decade and a half, I would say, I was so attracted to the mindset and searching online and learning and deep going, until COVID.
Oh, okay.
Before COVID, I was back and forth to California, Los Angeles, and I opened a studio in Beverly Hills. I opened a showroom in Dallas, Texas at the World Trade Center. Anything I touch has to become success to my own or to my own people, definitely, And so COVID, just before COVID, I came to Montreal, Canada, and this is where I couldn't continue my business. So it was just like, oh my God, at one point, I started writing the book. And funny enough, the mindset more like I would say, in 2018 in LA, I was in a business and marketing trade show. From nowhere, they were announcing a seller, to book basically the event, how to write a book. So I jumped, I booked it. And when I went to the 3-day, 2.5 days, they ask you questions like to come up with ideas about the title or the subtitles and etc. And everything I wrote there, it's almost the book that I wrote a few years later. I did not find my note even. Only later I found my note. So all those basically prove to me like the mindset, it is the most important thing.
Understood. Right. Yeah, I can see how, it's just a big combination of everything you've went through in your life that led up to that moment where you realized, you know what, after everything I've done, I need to write this book. Especially because it sounds like it was almost a very spontaneous thing that came to you when you went to that, seminar where they said how to write your book. Perhaps, were you thinking of doing it before you went, or did you just kind of become inspired by that?
It was just a gut feeling. Years, or I would say all my life, I always knew at one point I will write a book, And so don't forget, I started my life in college. Well, actually, I was already married to study psychology. But then it took me years later to realize, why did I stop that and I followed fashion instead? So I understood, the mindset I was just needing to escape the marriage, the suffering that I was through. And so going in fashion, it's like every few months, it's a new season, it's colorful, there's trade shows, it shows you all, it's such a different, lifestyle completely, right? And so that was the reason.
How would you say, you mentioned about how it's hard to sort of balance those two different lifestyles, going from fashion to, the idea of, empowering your own mind and, helping yourself like that. Is that hard to balance, especially within your writing and your work, going from one topic to the other within all of your different endeavors?
Absolutely not. There is another milestone we can say that, you see, my English is my third language, that when I am with customers and everything I wrote in the book, it is an extra proof that there is a time for everything. And when you're ready, the time that when you are ready to do something, it feels like, oh my God, like such a joy, such a happiness. And this is one of the things I teach also, it's not the matter of the house, the walls that you have, or the big cars, or the material stuff. It's the peace. When you feel at one point you have peace, you have happiness that you don't know why. Like, you're just happy and you don't know why. This is where you feel peace. And
that's the moment when you know that you finally got there, right? When you have peace.
And so when I jumped in writing the book, I was just getting the messages, like the feeling, like, oh my God. And during COVID, the lockdown, everybody was happy, not working, watching TV all day long. And me, I was waking up at 7, running to get my coffee and running to jump in my book and just write.
Oh my goodness.
Because my friends, they were like, are you crazy? Like, oh my God, I'm feeling so amazing. Like, and I have all the words that I wanted to write, that where they came from, I have no idea. Like,
I love that. I love that you had that, natural thought in your minds, like, this is an opportunity for me. Everyone's locked at home. What am I going to do? I could just, watch a movie or, read a book, but why not write a book? Why not take what I've done and take it to the next level? I love that, and I can only imagine. I mean, I had a very similar experience over COVID as well. I sort of writing as well. Just like you, my friends would be like, hey, like, you want to jump on and play this video game? And I'd be like, you know what? I have something I want to do. I want to elevate, my experiences. And I think a lot of people also do share this mindset that we share, because
absolutely,
a lot of business people, anybody who has their own company, they're very busy and they don't have time to write their books. But something like COVID was a great opportunity where that you were able to take advantage of and write their book. And I'm sure now, would you say that if you tried to write now that, the world's kind of back in order, would it be more of a challenge, being that we don't have as much in time?
No, I am 1,000
more motivated
in it. Yes. And on top of it, I'll announce it to you tomorrow or after tomorrow, like really this week, if everything finished, like even the cover, I am doing the new edition of that book, which is you can see it here.
Yeah, I can see it. So it's a new edition. What's different from this book and the other?
The new edition will be a little different colors, but everything almost the same. But I added in everything that I experienced with people, like doing what I'm teaching and what changed in their lives. So it was missing all those stories that I did, which I also learned the last 2 years. This is my first book. Like, I wasn't born writing books. It's a very good book to, self-growth. Like, you have all the questions, so you answer them, and gives you motivation and wisdom and examples. But it's very good to share stories. Like, your example, you are bugging in this and that, and you did this and that, and that's what made you feel this way and change that in your life, and so on. And so this is the new edition. This week is coming out. Unfortunately, I should have told you maybe.
No, I'm very happy you did, because you know what? Now, all of our listeners also know about your book coming out. Can you tell where they can find it? On Amazon. Okay.
I would love to be able to share it with you, because we're going to do a 24 hours, some kind of a boosting in energy, talking about the book, sharing your video. So I'll wait for your video. And then that 24 hours will be on, because I will not put it on before that 24 hours that can be.
Got it. No, it's very exciting. And we'll definitely post links to everything needed in this podcast. So listeners, when you hear this, go ahead, check out these links and check out this new edition of the book, because I'm sure it's going to be very powerful. And, I did take a look at the first version. I can only imagine how much more incredible it's going to be. I actually work with a lot of writers too. At Authors on a Mission, I am an angel writer and editor. And one thing that I always tell my clients is to do exactly what you did. A lot of people have amazing ideas, amazing theories they want to share with the world, just like you do. But what they might lack is those personal anecdotes, the proof that shows what you have to say can make an impact. And you have that, and you were able to put that in your book, which only makes it even more valuable. So it's so
Well, I think what they're missing and what you're telling them, it's like they have to do a little process. They just hear it, you more hear it lately. You do have to trust the process.
Right.
And so to be able to write a book or doing anything in their lives, maybe it's not today for them. Even if you advise them, it's the wrong advice. It has to be at the moment they feel a boiling desire. Like, you cannot use other words. When you had that boiling desire, like the way I was running in my house to go make a coffee, and we're in the lockdown now, and don't forget that. And I have an appointment coming right now, and it was, I can't even explain it to you. I had such a happiness. Like, I'm surrounded with people, they have a full home and security and everything. They were so freaking out because of COVID, and me, not the second I felt any peace, because I was following something like a boiling desire, doing the book and writing the book. And from the book, I wrote my coaching programs, which I never ever knew that I would be doing this, honestly.
Now, may I ask, when you were planning this book, did you intentionally write your outline and figure out with the mindset to make those coaching programs, or did you write the book first? Were you plan, or did it happen naturally? I'm just kind of curious.
100% that. All of it.
Wow. No, that's incredible. A lot of people have trouble doing that. That's what Authors on a Mission helps people do, is structuring their book in a way that they can branch off and be in their business from it. There's a difference between writing a book and putting your ideas on a page, or structuring in a way like you did that allows you other opportunities once the book published. That book that you just held up for me, it's not just something with your name on it. It acts as a key to open more doors for opportunities. Can you tell me a little bit more how you actively use this book to grow your business? And I know you're able to, you said, build workshops off of it. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Because I felt like I need to add all those stories, and the new edition has to be out. I did not really use it much. Of course, I have all the time people buying it, because, you get the payment from Amazon. But I did not truly use it. It is pinned on my Facebook, let's say, page, on the website, on my website. Obviously, the first thing you see is the book. Of course, because a lot of people, they don't know, how, let's say, to take a programs and change. They're more used to their own doing it at the beginning. So they buy it. And so when they start the book, and this is where they realize, oh my God, I need a little help. So what you were saying earlier, what you do in your business, when you take authors and help them, to basically write the book and so on. Maybe I need to work with you parallel, where I need to prime their mind and everything they had done, to get them really from all their heart to write, and not because they were just dreaming to write a book and this is the time. No. They have to feel it like boiling desire. I cannot say other words than that. Jumping the way I was feeling. Oh my God. And if I tell you the time it took me to write the whole thing, you're not going to believe it. In a few months. Really. And I know people, they have books on the shelves, they never finished it.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Oh my goodness, I have so many things to branch off what you just said. The first thing I want to go back to is, structuring your content and making sure that everything that you write can be used later on for something else. It's definitely something I help my clients do all the time. For example, every chapter can be turned into a separate YouTube video that you talk a little bit more about it, right? Or a certain catchphrase can be used for Instagram posts, or throwing it right up on X posts, whatever it is. So that's something to always be intentional about when you're making your outlines. I recommend that to any of our listeners who are thinking of reading their book and putting those amazing practices into text. You need to think about ways you can expand it. That book can be on the shelf, but how do you make it more? And branching off the other thing you said right there about how there's so many books that go unfinished. I mean, you're an amazing example of how your dedication and drive made that happen. A lot of people can't do that. A lot of people that come to us, the authors on mission, they're too busy. They have I need to find the perfect moment mentality, but it's just a matter of, you've got to get up there. I love what you said earlier about you've treated it like it was a business meeting, rushing to make your coffee and sitting down to write. You got to hold yourself accountable.
Exactly. Yeah. And guess what? Exactly what you said. You're telling me nobody sees my video, right? That's what you said.
Sorry?
Nobody see me because I want to show you something.
Oh, well, yeah. So in case our listeners can't see this, she's pulling up her book right now, and she's opening up to a page. What page is that one number?
And you read?
Yes, I see contract and I'm sorry, can you say it out loud? It's kind of hard to see on the screen.
And commitment. So basically,
contract and commitment. Okay, yes.
So they had to sign it and put the date, like part of the few first pages, agree on things to be able to move on and change their lives. So they signed this contract for themselves. And of course, few points that here they're very, very important when they're signing the contract. And so like example, like, you can't take a room, walls red or black or blue, dark blue, and you want to turn it into yellow without doing prime. The yellow will never be that beautiful yellow bright like the sun if you don't prime it first. And they're exactly whoever
preparing, yeah.
Yeah, they have a burning desire to write a book, but they're missing that part of prime. So when they will write from other heart, they would do it from other energy with a burning desire. And don't forget, this positive energy will all come to them because of knowing how to prime their mindset, clean up, like the way you can't put a wall white or yellow if you don't prime it first. And then they are fresh. They can write a book, and believe me, they found the time. They can find the time to do anything.
Right, yeah. I mean, I just kind of want to circle back first. I love how you put that in the beginning of your book, that contract the readers have to sign. A lot of people will read a book and then they close it and then they either forget about it or they'll think about it or they don't act on it. But the physical motion of having to take a pen and sign your name on a book, it gives it more value, something you're holding in your hand and reminding yourself. It's like signing a contract to anything else. It's a governance. Like you're promising yourself that you're not just going to read it and put the tips on the shelf and forget about it. You're going to put it into your life. You're going to give it a try. And for you as the writer, that's just like another guarantee that readers are going to remember what you're saying and find meaning from it.
And you said a very specific word now. Exactly what I wrote, actually, I think I can.
Oh, yeah.
Like how you and I and everybody, we go to a job and okay, we don't sign maybe the contract like on the paper, but we give it all to the boss, or if you own your own business, the same thing. So how come you're not giving it all to your own self?
Right, treat yourself like your own boss in a way, right? Maybe your own boss.
Mindset, your own self, your own body. Because if you're not good, clean up your life, how could you take care of your children or your husband or the friends? Because all reflect this whole thing, this energy, this chemistry, everything reflects when you have issues and you did not deal with it. You have anger, you have resentment of the past, you have, I can go on.
No, yeah, of course. I mean, I feel like in a way that also just ties back to what you're saying about, priming the paint before you can paint it. You know what I mean? Like everything you're saying ties together, and I can see how in your book you've made it in a way that when a reader reads it, it's clear, it's put together, and I can see how they would really, expand themselves from it. Especially because you touch upon such personal topics.
Yeah.
I mean, talking about and helping people with their problems with bullying and anything else, it's hard to talk about. You don't want to say it in a way that might offend them or upset them even more. You have to find the right words that empower them and also relate to them at the same time. Did you find any challenges in doing that when you were writing your book?
When I was writing the book, it's really about a full mindset to a mastermind. And I touched many subjects. And one of them, of course, the kids bullying, because that's what exactly actually going backward. 2010, I was in California, actually living in Beverly Hills, and I was going with friends in an event in Santa Monica. I don't know if you have an idea, it's not too far.
Yeah, I've been in that area before.
The night before, I was watching this program, 60 Minutes or 2020, one of those two, and I was crying with them. They were interviewing parents who actually their kids I'm sorry to say it, suicide. And so because of the bullying. And it touched my heart like so much. Look how many years it took me, 12 to 13 years later to write. But that was the motivator, that as a kid, just feeling what I felt when coming to Canada so young and feeling like, let's say, intimidated. That's exactly the word, because I wasn't really 100% like bullied like those kids I was. But and now seeing them to get to the extreme point, that was absolutely I was crying with the parents, I went to my friends, somebody had to do something, oh my God. And so that was the motivator. Since then I started searching more about the mindset, the new ho, and why and so and why and that. But that was
right. It became a stepping stone to write your book, but also just something that's going to live with you, it impact you. And so I'm sure maybe that's what you drew upon when you were writing, or do the same sort of thing in your book.
Exactly.
Drawing upon how you felt. Right.
That's the unfortunately I wanted to add, it's many of the bullied kids start with their own, like there is a weakness and they attract those kids that they have misery. They are miserable. Right. They bully them. So they have the problem. But again, what is the roots of those two kids? The one attract and the one the bullier. Usually, generally, I would say like roots somewhere and start away from home. The problems with the relationship, the problems with the marriage, the problems they have separated, they are divorcing, and the fights, and so all that, it's accumulating all that and built into insecurity, into they don't like themselves, they don't see themselves good in the mirror. And on top of it, the chair on the Sunday when there's a kid a little more aggressive, and they have the problem, they bully these kids, And so it's a very fragile subject. It hurts my heart every time that I speak to people.
Yeah, it's very powerful, it's sensitive.
Most of the time it's like via Zoom and I want to try to go through the screen to get those kids like, listen to me.
A virtual hug, right?
Yes, it's like, it's not your fault. Please listen to me. He have or she have the problem. She's the one jealous, or she's the one insecure, or he. This is why they're bullying you. It's not you. And I'm telling you, sometimes you see so cute, so good heart, so sweet, so everything, and they keep getting bullied. And it's like there's no reason, like seriously. So anyway, it hurts my heart, and I'm gonna do everything I can, keep going to give them power to stand for themselves and give them confidence. And nobody can tell you anything. That's oh my God, you're not alone. They have to know that.
I absolutely love that. And, as a listener on this podcast, I'm sure we all hear just like the meaning behind her words when she's saying this right now. Caroline, you're speaking with such just power behind that. You have this drive, and I can tell how you took that in your book and your seminars, everything you do, you put that passion into it. I can tell this from the way you've been talking. And you have an amazing understanding of what the problem is. It's not a matter of like disciplining the bully, saying, you're not doing the right thing. It's a matter of they also do need help. What I'm hearing from you too, it's not they're being impacted by their families and all the other experiences. They're dealing with their own traumas too. Everybody's going through something, and that's a lesson that children need to learn. The bully, the victim, the bystander. I'm sure that's something you probably touch upon in your book too.
Very much. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, everybody has something to get over and work around.
Very true. Nobody's perfect when you think about it. Nobody comes to this planet, they know everything. This is why I say always, you don't know what you don't know. And that is why, always learn more, attract more, try to open your eyes to more, because you don't know what you don't know.
I love that. You don't know what you don't know. I'm sure before you started this whole journey, you would have never considered you'd end up being where you are today. Like before you had, immigrated, you probably would have never imagined that you'd, be so into mindset and write a book and speaking engagements. It's incredible the way that things can turn. Would you say that writing your book has really just been almost like a catalyst for that sort of transformation by having that book out there for people to read?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, the tool of a book is the best thing could exist, because a lot of people more into their loneliness where they start to open their eyes. So before jumping on a coaching where they face to face to admit, I feel this, I feel bad, or I am angry, or they go to themselves by themselves in a book. So a book's been for how many thousands of years, right?
Mm-hmm.
the tool, to people open up on many things, many subjects, to learn and to perform and do better and see an example and to do better, So the book, it's definitely an amazing tool,
Yeah, I like that. And I like that you mentioned that, you have a lot of examples in there, like reasons that people can relate to it. Yeah. I was looking through some of your materials online. I actually came across a blog post where you mentioned you actually were burned as a child.
Oh.
You had hot milk, and oh my goodness, it spilled on your arms, your face, your chest. Can you tell me a little bit, how did that happen?
Yeah. So when I was in Syria, I was 2 years old, and back then they used to deliver the milk straight from the cow manufacturer. I'm going to use the word, but you know what I mean, the farm. And so we have to boil it before we drink it. And so I just had, actually, it's so funny doing the video about my life story, but related to the inner voice and instinct and a hunch. And this is what I'm going to tell you, all of them, how many incidents I've had in my life, and I was saved. Inner voice and intuition and the hunch of my father. And so at 2 years old, I was packed, undressed, ready to go to my mother giving me a bath. And this boiling milk was right there. And I took the handle and down to my face, my neck,
Oh my goodness.
tongue.
Well, you never know now. You don't have any signs of what you've grown past it.
Exactly. So my father used to be in perfume and makeup and lingerie, actually business. So he knew this lady that she had a natural remedy cream that she created to put burn.
Yeah.
Third degree burn. And so they put wood in my neck here and wood on my arms like a cross, Jesus.
Yeah.
And she put the cream for 3 months. Every day would put the cream, and then she pull it out. And the second day, she put again. And then when it dries, she put it out until it, that she saw the new skin was absolutely healed. So
That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, I'm actually going to share something with you that I usually don't tell people, especially not everybody in my podcast. I actually was burned too. I burned my face also. When I saw that, I was like, how many people actually experience that? It actually happened to me 2021. So I was cooking. I'm making eggs, and my hair falls just above it. Flame catches from underneath the pan. My full face, my ear, everything from right here to here was just burned. So for my listeners who might not have seen me, from my nose to my ear, it was really bad. I actually was working as a teacher, so I took off school because I didn't want my students to just see how crazy my face was. We went to the burn center, and I didn't have somebody in my life like you did who had the natural cream. They provided me with one different type of treatment, but I was very similar to you, wrapped up, and it's just it's disharmony.
Oh my God, I'm so.
It was I would say it was 2 months, and after a while it started to fade enough where I was able to wear a headband and cover the bandages and kind of go about my life still. And people forgot about it after not too long, and I kind of sometimes joke with my friends now, we forget it even happened. A little bit of makeup, you'd never know. But the funny thing is we both experienced that, but I can see how it's a transformative experience, because when you're wrapped up like that, it's almost like your own confidence is wrapped up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that transforms as you're healing too. It's almost like you're healing your physical body and so I can see how for you that's another layer that led you to your mindset journey and learning more about that. It's all about how you think about it. You could have probably thought about that as a crippling experience, but you're growing from it, and because of your father too, who influenced you and helped you, as you said. It's just amazing how these kinds of experiences can really lend themselves to stuff that we can share with our readers.
Yes, absolutely. And this is one of the things that sometimes I tell myself, I am made to do what I'm doing now, not because I've been more than 20 something, 30 years that I was helping people for free, this, just from my heart, anything that I could come up with natural remedies that it comes from my father, because we have a book from 18th century that I was helping, and he did the same thing, from all my heart, but I never knew that I would do what I'm doing. And now more so, I believe, because I survived the 2 years old birth. I was 9 years old. My appendix, it was about to burst.
Oh my
God.
I heard that's really painful.
The emergency operation, and right after I had a huge panic attack. I thought I was gonna die. My mother, she saved me. 12 years old, I found what mixing up. 9 years old 12 years old was the appendix. 9 years old, we in Syria, we used to every summer go to Lebanon. Listen to this, you're not gonna believe it. Your hair's gonna stand up.
I'm ready.
Every summer to go visit my grandparents in in Lebanon. And so back then they used to book my parents a taxi. And that's what he used to do the project every day to go to Lebanon with a full car. Like, so my mom and my 4 siblings, so we were 6 people. My dad used to follow us like a few weeks later. So the night we used to leave at 5 in the morning every summer. So the night before, the luggage, everything ready. My dad comes from work and he had a hunch, like not feeling good about it. And like really. And he said, no, you're not going tomorrow. He called the taxi, he goes, one day. Tomorrow you're not going the day after. And get what happened. You're gonna believe it. The taxi, he replaced all the passengers and he did the same tragedy. And basically, they had a car accident. The driver, the taxi driver, and the whole crew, they all died.
No. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry to hear that.
So my dad saved his whole family from his intuition. You know, understand how much I believe about the book. If you do it like clean, and you get to the point to understand and believe in your instinct, and you know when is the real your instinct, it's like wow, it's a lifesaver. And it was my appendix, which my mom saved me, and then getting married at 17 years old, which
a whole nother
few years, but I left him. That's the thing, because when he asked my hand, I was 16 years old. After a few weeks, like 2.5, maybe 3, I left him for 3 days. So my instinct was right there, Ethan. But mature enough to realize like this is something, you know, or this is, he's not for me. But anyway, it was only a few years and I had my daughter. And so, but again, another proof to me that my instincts are right on point.
Yeah, I can see that the idea of your instinct, that's something that has definitely carried over from whatever experience you've been in.
Many.
I guess some advice we put to readers or listeners is follow your instinct. Like if your mind is telling you something, it has for a reason, whatever it is. And that's an incredibly powerful story. I mean, what if your father hadn't known that instinct, or if you didn't listen to him and you just decided to go anyway? I mean, what would have been? It's all a big ripple effect, and you never know the kind of impact you're making or a small decision.
Exactly. So. Not only that you can learn how to become that intuitive and trusted, it's more like, I believe, also karma. My father was so good with so many people. He helped so many marriages. He has so many people. And this is besides his business now. He has a full business. He never charged nothing. I think it's his karma that God helped him to leave his family alive, his whole family, wife, 5 kids, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a very powerful story, and I'm sure your book and your post talk more about that too.
Yeah.
So listeners, if you're more interested in the details about how Caroline's instincts and all of her experiences have really led her where she is, I mean, check that out because that's so powerful. So you know what? I actually have almost a fun little game that I like play on these podcasts. I know if you're playing with me. Yeah. I call it the rapid fire round. So just a couple of like kind of fun questions that slightly directed to writing or more so just for your life, something to get the readers to know a little bit more about you, and it's fun to talk. So
okay.
Are you interested? Do you want to play?
That's right. Let me pretend. I don't know if I know or not.
Okay. Well, my first question, what is your go-to outfit for a productive writing day? What do you usually wear? What brings you the best ideas?
Okay, wow. Well, it depends on the personality. Like I believe for me, it's gonna be either black or white, And lately I've been like kind of a signature, a signature, my red lipstick. So that's and this is my nature also to, because of my dad also in the makeup business. I love to have makeup and do my hair. So this is my personality. So like I do not like to tell anybody do that. It's like follow your instinct, follow your personality and what suits you, because you have to be like comfortable in your own skin. So who you are, you do it. And so for me is that like since I was a kid, I have to do my nail polish, the lipstick.
And I feel that for sure. Yeah, I mean, in order to get your best work done, your best writing done, whatever it is, you need to be happy with yourself. Or else you're preventing your own ideas flowing if you're not feeling your best. So for you, it's putting on the makeup, it's having the nails. Like, I really should do my own nails.
Part of your motivation. What does it motivate you, and how are motivated? Like now, my house here that I'm going to post soon, I am on the water. I don't know if I can turn this around. I am under the water.
That's incredible.
And basically, I'm going to announce soon who wants to have a coffee with me, like a second coffee. Can you see the water?
Wow. Yeah, that's a beautiful view that you have right out there in a patio.
Everyday desk. Yeah, so that is my everyday desk. I'm sitting here in front of the water.
Oh my goodness.
You have to know what is your type? What is makes you calm? What is makes you more productive? What is makes you, you know, the right time to write or the right time to jog? Don't do what people tells you. This is why the priming, the part of my book, it is when you do the whole work from all your heart though. Don't feel like you're forcing yourself today. Oh, I have to do this. Never. Let it be. I mean, a little bit, you have to kind of force yourself a little bit, yeah, you know, to become accountable. You know what I'm saying? When you're saying, okay, I want to do the work so I can get to this point, you know.
Of course, yeah, like we talked about, you have to put it into action.
Exactly, you know. But again, you have to trust the day that you feel certain things, certain things are not.
Exactly, right. Yeah, so that's why, you know, your go-to outfit is just something that empowers you, gives you that confidence and inspires you, just like the water that you have right outside your window. And for any listeners, just in case you didn't see the video part of this, she has this gorgeous water landscape right outside her window, very comfortable chairs to sit in to write. I mean, you're part of, you know, the setup that you made for yourself while writing. It's a big influence on your creativity and overcoming any writer's block.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that leads into my next rapid fire question. I mean, have you ever dealt with writer's block, and how do you get over that? We touched upon that a little bit. Have you had to go overcome that problem in your writing process?
Well, you know what? I have ideas. I guess as a creative person to begin with, this is what drawn me to become a designer at first business, and now my second part of my life, becoming as an author and a mindset coach. It's all about creativity, right? And so I think I lost my thoughts now. So basically the blogs, I wake up at 5, and since few years, like I learned most successful business people, they wake up at 5. I couldn't do it. I tried and I tried and I tried. I couldn't do it. And now it's been months. It's like I wake up before my alarm at 5, and this is the first thing I do is writing one blog a day kind of thing.
Yeah, okay.
And ideas comes to me. I'm driving. I am going to Costco, and I take my phone and I record right with this idea about in a blog about, you know, and I give ideas what to do, because that is what is my blog. Any subject could be anything, and what to do, actually why, what, and how. What to do and how to do it. And a quick little page, you know, so to give some free stuff to people.
Okay, everyone likes free thing. What kind of free items do you give out?
You know what? Nothing more than that, because I believe when you're not invested, you don't put the work. And so I think really I do not give kind of more than that. Let's say my coaching are high ticket offer. Why? Because the only people will actually change really because they need to do the work, not because I do the work, not because I came up with the best way to do it. If you don't do it on yourself, you're in Australia, you're in Europe, you're in UK, you're in USA, hours ahead, miles away. There's nothing I can do but, you know, screaming behind the screen and say, come on, you have to do it, you know, but we don't put the actual work. So my coaching are high ticket offer, because if you don't invest, you cannot really appreciate it. So giving free stuff, it's not to your advantage. Like, I don't love you enough if I give you, but if I love you enough, I'm gonna try to charge you for it. And
yeah, because that's another matter of making yourself accountable. If it's a service that you know you want and it has value in it, it's something that's important to you, and it goes back to signing the contract in the beginning of your book. You know, that accountability. It's something a lot of people struggle with. You know, sometimes you have something you want to get done, but you know, going back to what we said about, you know, your friends in 2020 who will want to watch a movie instead of actually doing whatever it is on your plate. That accountability is a huge factor. There's so many business leaders out there, or executives, anybody who want to write their book, but they keep finding excuses not to. That's why, you know, people like you who hold people accountable, or people like me who work with Authors on Mission, we hold our clients accountable to, you know, meeting those goals. I have so many clients who are writing their book, and because I'm with them and working with them, I'm reminding them, I'm saying, hey, like, don't forget, read this chapter so we can go over it before a meeting, or, you know, anything like that. It's a matter of having somebody by your side as a guide, hold the hand, make sure that they get to where they want to go.
Remind them they have to, one, trust the process, that what you're giving them, and to write this chapter and what to do. But some they do need the prime, like my work, my coaching. But again, don't forget, it's not gonna give them the plus or advantage or just to be able to write that book. No, it would change their entire life. And I mean their entire life. So many people, like, they were about to divorce. They stopped the divorce because they invested with me to change that, and they said, put it on the paper, like what it will cost you money-wise to have a divorce and what it will cost you emotional and the whole family to be broken in pieces and how much pain you could bring to your kid just there.
Seeing it laid out on paper, a visual aspect is really impactful.
Absolutely. And never mind money. Money comes and goes. Money today you're making and tomorrow you're going to keep making. And until the day you die, you're still going to have money. But you don't take it with you when you are dead. But what you take with you, it's what you left behind. You fight for your family. Of course, when it's really possible, like some couples, like it's no, maybe, could be, So what you fight for your family to keep them together, what you fight for your marriage. And so I'm sure part of your authors, they are writing maybe about subject like that. But if they have not done the prime in their own personality, I don't know how they can write this book. So I would be happy to help you, Danielle.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the thing too. You need to have that experience and able to help them. And you have all these experiences that have brought you to where you are. And that's how you're able to help people. And working with these couples only enhances those experiences more. And I see now why you have the second version of your book coming out has even more validation and all of these stories included. Keeping that in mind, I mean, as we're starting to get to sort of the end of this podcast, I know that that's an exciting project that's on the horizon for you, the release of that new book. Do you have any other projects or anything you'd like to share with the listeners that's coming up and that's new and exciting?
You just made me remember to mention it. So there's 4 chapters in the book that I went on it like a glimpse. I mean, still a few pages, the marriage relationship, the love relationship, or business, or your job, or your health and body, and losing weight and not losing weight, and then the master of your whole entire life. So they are like only like a glimpse in this book, But those 4 chapters, they're gonna become a unique book by itself. So it will be a series of that one book. Because the first book, it's really about you master your mind, because if you don't master you yourself, master your mind, how could you master your marriage? How could you master at work? It's a balance, because go to work, if you're unhappy at home, oh my God, are you gonna really produce at work? No way. It's
exactly, yeah.
And
just like the priming, you have to prime yourself to be ready to be productive. Every aspect of your life has to be at.
So I am so passionate about those 4 other books, and hopefully this coming year, because I wrote already in each one of them a lot, but not to the point to finish. But this coming year, I would say I may finish all 4, because I have a contract with a publisher. They are in UK and New York and Ontario as well. And I think in India, this one, because I had 2 publishers. But the one that I'm signing with them, the minute I finalize that part, I'm going to jump in the other 4. So I'm going to have to promise them, how it is with a publisher. You sign with them, that's it, that's all, you have to keep going.
I like that. Yeah. And I mean, that's what your publisher's doing for you. That's what Authors on Mission can do for any, aspiring writers too.
Yes.
And as you're coming closer to finishing that book, I mean, we also offer like amazing editing services. So it's something I do as well. Like really looking for and making sure that you
learn about that.
Yeah. I mean, I always work with people to make sure that we're not being repetitive, that everything you're saying ties into the main point of your book, that every chapter has a valuable lesson that the reader can gain from it. And, like I mentioned before, that everything it's saying can later on be used for more content later on.
Absolutely. Do you do the editing also of the book, the whole book? You change the cover, the back, the inside, the editing. Do you do also that?
Yeah, so I do an array of different editing services, from like developmental edits, content edits, line edits, proofreading, all of that.
You do all that?
The team at Authors on Mission also does book cover designs, marketing, all that sort of thing. So we're kind of like the one-stop shop, but we also offer like individual services too for any need. Yeah. So if you're ever interested, you can always reach out. You have my contact information, and for any listeners who are interested, you can always hop right onto the Authors on Mission website. Now, before we end off, I actually have one last question for you. Do you have any particular message that you'd like to leave with our listeners before they sign off today? I actually have a fun little challenge in that question. I know you speak so many different languages. If you have any sort of saying in French or Armenian or something? Anything our readers can take with them and remember this podcast with? What do you think?
So my first language, of course, it's Arabic. Arabic in Aleppo, Syria, it's like the closest to Lebanese people. And my second language, which also was from schooling in Syria, French, because the nuns, the Armenian nuns, I'm Armenian Catholic, the nuns, they study to become nun in Paris. So their French was like very clear. And also the French people were in Aleppo, Syria as well. And then the English, as funny as it sounds, I learned it like the way we say it from the street, right? And so the one thing that I would say in Arabic, if I can remember this one, about karma, من حفر حفرة لأخيه وقعها فيها. Oof, my Arabic also a long time ago. We've been
I like it though. I think you can tell me a little bit about what that means.
The karma is a bitch. So in Arabic, it's more exactly the way they say, make a little hole for your own sister, which me and you were sisters. If you think about it, from where the tree we came, the roots from where we came. You make the little hole for you to fall in it. You end up falling in it. That's exactly the translations from Arabic to English.
A very literal version of karma.
So be good.
Yeah.
That's what I would finish that. And when you are good, God will protect you, your family. And when you die in peace, surrounded with the good people. No matter how difficult and how hard and how bullied you are. And you could be bullied at the very old age, that because you're surrounded, whoever it is, they envy your just happiness. Like, even if you don't have as big of a house, they may have a huge house comparing you, or the amount of money that they could have more than you, like multiply. But when you have peace and you keep doing the right thing, God or the universe, whatever is you believe, no matter what is the religion, doesn't matter. It's your belief. You are protected, and you feel like there's someone watching over you and giving you the right thing at the right time. Another last little story, you're not going to believe it. I left my ex-husband. My daughter was like a year old and a half. I had no job because I just finished my fashion studying, and I gave birth to my daughter actually before even doing my last exams. I was pregnant during my whole classes. So when I left him, I had no job, no money. He stopped the credit card and no car. And a month and a half, 2 months later, then nowhere, no Facebook, none of the social media, nothing. So I called the bank to buy a new car. I cannot forget. And this director, I hope God that he's still alive, that he can knock the door on one day and say, Caroline, that was me at the Scotia Bank in Montreal, in the fashion district on Rue Chabanel. Over the phone, I said to him, I just divorced. I need to find a job. I need to take my daughter to the daycare. I need a car. And I'm not buying any car, like just funny enough to think about it. Brand new car from the dealership, Nissan Pulsar with the T-top. Back then they had those T-top. Maybe you have not seen them even. Okay, I'm not that old of you, but
look it up.
With it brand new, like has like few kilometers on the car, like brand new.
So he brought you this car just because you needed it.
I just on the phone, I swear to you, on the phone, saying to that director, what is my going on? I have no job now. Huh? Imagine. I said, I need to find a job, absolutely, and I will. And I have to take my daughter to the daycare, and to do that, job and daycare, I need a car. And he said, okay. This will never happen today.
Yeah.
I have the car, I have the pictures, brand new, and that's exactly what I did. And that's another proof to my book that your mindset, the power that you can have. And of course, after this, I made so much money that I have no idea from where it was coming. I was independent, not a job. And me, I just built a house with my ex-husband of 3 floors, but on a 5 level. I moved into the house for 3 days only. And I walked away with a huge confidence that I couldn't take it. That was it. I am done. And I did it. And then the money was coming in from every way you can imagine. Paying the car, paying the house, unbelievable. So again, another proof that God or the universe were backing me up to prove to me that your mindset, it is so freaky powerful that you cannot even imagine. And you can use it any minute means time. But when you have to be with this burning desire that I need to take my daughter to the daycare and I'm going to work for the rest of my life. And I did it. I did all of it. So I spoke maybe a little more than you wanted me to speak.
But you made so many incredible points. Like, I don't even know where to begin. The phrase that you mentioned about karma, I love that. Like that's something that you should have the slogan in your book even. Like, it's another way to think about it. That really literal translation of it, about the idea of digging a hole.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, oh my goodness, that story about Nissan. Have you tried to reach out to that dealership at all?
This director at Scotia Bank in Montreal, on La Rue, the street Chabanel. I'm saying it in French, La Rue Chabanel, which is the fashion district. Like the way in New York, on the Fifth Avenue, you have this section of the fashion district. And in California, also on Main Street, where is the fashion district. Because for me, New York, Los Angeles, and Paris, I lived in Paris once also.
Okay.
It's like home. I know my way around. I can drive my way and I lived there, obviously.
Right. So were you able to get back in touch with them?
No. I keep saying if somebody would know a director.
Right. So any listeners that might know this area, this street, please reach out to your friends and family. It would be grete to reconnect these two. I mean, even worse so, you should reach out to Nissan itself. Share your story. This could be something they could use as well. To know that a small act of kindness led you to become so successful now. I mean, you never know the types of connections that your experiences can lead to later on. So I recommend you reach out to them too. The company.
I think call the headquarters of the Bank Scotia and try to track the timing. And that summer, and who was the director, the finance director, imagine with nothing today, there's no way you could do that. He finance, I got the car. It's like, when I think about it today, I'm like, no, it's like a dream. If somebody would tell me, maybe I would not believe it. I lived it.
It's all a matter of how, small acts of kindness and karma all come into play in life.
Exactly.
I mean, we can only hope that he's also doing as well as you are now.
So,
and this applies to our readers too. I mean, our listeners, if you just heard that, small things you do for other people, whatever it is, and for yourself, bring you in so many different directions. Small acts like that, or huge acts really, giving somebody a car, or to yourself, like doing yourself that kindness. And if you have that idea in your mind of wanting to write a book, do yourself that kindness. And it's almost like karma. If you pay now and you do the right thing by actually writing the book, it's going to pay off later on down the road, like how Caroline has found such success by writing that book.
Well, if they feel the responsibility that they need to share their message in their book, what are you waiting for? It's all what I could say. You know what I mean? Call me for free. I'm going to give you some priming.
So you hear that? Reach out to Caroline. She has amazing experiences and you can learn a lot from her. Thank you so much for being on another episode for Authors on Missions podcast. I mean, your journey from your mindset coach to being an author, it really just shows how powerful that stories can really be in transforming our lives.
Absolutely.
And to our listeners, if you're ready to turn your lessons into an impact like Caroline has, please just visit authorsonmission.com. You can discover how we're helping professionals like you write books that can build a legacy and drive business growth just like Caroline has. Again, thank you so much. I'm Danielle Hutchinson.
My pleasure. Thank you, Danielle, very much.
So I'm Danielle, and until next time, everybody, keep writing, keep leading, keep inspiring, and have an amazing day.
Absolutely. Thank you.